girl Nicole, Wray, hanging out with my man, Malcolm. When I first heard Lee Fields, before I even met him, I was in New York and I was driving in the car, and my cousin had just got killed like a year before. He was only 16 years old. And this young lady, she put on the CD and we were driving to her house. And I could have sworn that this record was made in the 60s. And I just had tears in my eyes because of his voice. And I said, who is this? She said, that's Lee Fields. I said, who the hell is Lee Fields? She said, this was made a year ago. I said, you lying. You are lying. You are lying to me. And God is so great because I met this man and I wrote his last album.
Wow, yeah.
It happened that way.
But I had the same feeling when I listened to your album. I heard it, and then because I heard it randomly, and I was like, what kind of throwback old music is that? But I loved it. But I was like, who is this? And then it's like, it's Nicole Wray, and that's like my favorite, because I love you. Like, I love you from all the older stuff, which I want to get into right now. I want to talk a little bit about the 90s era and the music that you've done. You kind of were one of the few female young teenage singers among Brandy and Monica and Aaliyah and Maya and whatnot. How did that feel to be part of that era, and how do you feel about also your other colleagues?
Wow. you know what? I was so young. I was in high school. Excuse me. I was in high school. I got pulled out of high school and did homeschooling, and I was just. To me, it kind of felt like one big talent show. You know, it didn't grasp me, and my mom was managing me. I just felt like I knew who Maya was. I knew exactly who Aaliyah was. Aaliyah was out a couple years before I came out, but then we all became friends because she was a part of our super friend camp. And Missy wasn't, when I met Missy Elliott came to my house when I was 14, before she was Missy Elliott.
How did she know that you could sing like that?
My brother met her at her school. She came to do something for her school in Virginia.
But that's when she was still with Melissa, and she wasn't.
Elliott, yeah, and she was like, my brother, he had his group. She come to look at some talent, and he had his group, and she was like, I'm not looking for guys, I'm looking for girls. And he said, my sister can sing. And so he gave her our house phone number. And so she called my mom, and I wasn't even at home, and she came over, and I went in, and I just remember her sitting there. She had like little finger waves, those finger rolls, and she had a long ponytail, and she was telling me about herself, and she said, I heard you can sing. And so I sang for her, because that's what I was doing. I was singing everywhere, doing a lot of local stuff around in my area. And she snatched me that same night. She told my mom, I'm taking her with me. She's a star. She reminds me of young Mary J. Blige, and I'm going to do something with her. It didn't happen right away, but she did keep her promise. She kept her promise, and she took me to meet Sylvia Rhone, and that's when I met the Aaliyahs and the Mayas and the Tyreses and Jesse Powell. Remember that song?
Yeah.
I toured with all of these people, and I'm like, wow, I've been around. Sometimes I feel like a vampire, because some people be like, oh my God, you look the same. Where have you been?
Absolutely. I wanted to say, yeah, you look exactly.
Yeah, people, where have you been? I was like, I've been around. I've just, I've been under the radar. I've done a lot of writing. I was, on the the Hustle and Flow soundtrack, the 40-Year-Old Virgin soundtrack.
Love Don't Cost a Thing.
I've been doing a lot of writing, a lot of things that people don't even know.
Then the whole Timbaland super crew. How was that whole experience with Timbaland? And what do you think of Timbaland's new music that he's done with Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z? Did you get a chance to hear his music or keep up with the new stuff?
I think Timbaland is definitely somebody to, a force to be reckoned with. And this is going to be forever in his life. He's like the modern day Quincy Jones, him and Pharrell. And I think I'm still standing here because I had a chance to be around these people. Like, my mom always told me, you don't have to be a genius if you're in the room with geniuses. You know why? Because it will rub off on you. And I'm a genius because I was at a young age, around all of this. I was around Teddy Riley at a young age. I was around Pharrell in the studio, just soaking all that up. Around Missy every day. That was like my sister, my big sister still is. And Timbaland. When they was doing this, before they were worldwide, I used to just sit there and was like, this sounds amazing. And I was a part of that. They made me a part of that.
So you like his new music too?
I love his new music. All they're doing is evolving into the aliens that they are. These guys are incredible. incredible. You can't take nothing away from these guys.
So you like the Justin record?
I love Justin Timberlake. I love his voice. I love that he's, branching off into some soul and really unleashing that beautiful, strong power that he has. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we get into, overlooked, and people don't really think that we can do what we can do. I don't know if you heard my sound check. A lot of people was like, who the hell is that singing in her body? Because that's not her. But that's always been me. But when I got started, is a certain sound that you have for R&B, which is changing now because you have the Fantasias and the Jennifer Hudson, Keisha Coles, but when I was coming out, it was all really soft, melodic, breathy.
Yeah, like Brandy and Aaliyah.
You don't do that. It's like that was too much to be like, okay, this is not church. I need you to calm down. Okay. So, but that's always been. I always wanted to unleash it and let it out, and it was like, no, calm it down. So now I don't have anybody pinching me saying, calm it down. Damn it, I'm gonna sing my song. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
So then one of my favorite joints of your debut album is 17. But I don't know if you know about, like, if you were involved in a writing process, but what left me confused is it's like you saying call me when you need somebody to talk to, and it's like she's talking to this 30-year-old guy or something, but then he's 17 as well. So where's the scandalous? Did they rewrite the song? Maybe was he originally older, or how? I was a little confused.
Well, I wrote the rap. Okay. I'm rapping on that. Yeah. Missy wrote that, and a lot of times, you know what? Some things are to be left alone, because Michael Jackson, when he was like 8 years old, he was singing some strong, grown-ass people songs, and we just loved his voice for it. So, if that can answer your question.
No, because he was 17 as well, so that it's like it would have been more scandalous if you would have sang he was 22 or something.
Be getting like arrested.
Okay.
Someone will go to jail.
Okay, I get it.
Don't want that.
So that's
that would be on Missy's end. Not she wrote that song. That would be totally on her.
What I also wanted to talk about, I've loved your song I'm Looking and the video. In that album Electric Blue, I have like the snippets, but the album never came out. Tell us about the songs of the album. Will you ever be able to release them, or what is the reason why that hasn't came out yet? Your fans are sorely waiting.
I will say this.
Listen,
I will say this. That album was my first album that I ever wrote, because I didn't write anything. I maybe wrote maybe all together or Make It Hot maybe 10% of a record, which is really nothing. But I really have, I had everybody coaching me that was around me. I had Little Mo, Missy, Static from Player, which passed away, Rest His Soul, Smokey from Player, Big Baby and Sugar Mike, the list goes on. I was just like the little girl they found that could sing, which I have young girls and young guys what I do is I instill in them. You learn and you watch, and whatever you feel you're going through, if it's something in school, you write it down in your journal, because one day I'm not going to be here and you're going to continue to do your thing, because that's what your dream is. You know what I mean saying? So I lost your question.
Why the album never came out?
The album never came out because I don't own the album.
So you can't release it even if you wanted to?
Just look forward to it. It may be coming out.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you can. Okay. Love Child record. The same issue with that?
Yeah. It's amongst some of my beautiful work. When I think about it.
Describe the album a bit. How is it different from Electric Blue and Nicole Wray, the debut album?
Love Child, at Electric Blue, I was still young, and I was still, toying around with ideas, and I really wasn't hurt or been hurt, or what really knew that I could express some of the things that I wanted to express. But on Love Child, I was away from home. I was living in New York when I wrote that album, and I felt free to be grown and free to talk about what I wanted to talk about. And that's what
If It Was Your Girlfriend was very different, much more, risque.
Yeah, it was risque, and it was sassy, it was super sexy, and the melodies, it was just beautiful. And that was a time when I was on Rockefeller, and I didn't know when I was on Rockefeller that ship was sinking. You know, I wanted to get on
when
that
the whole
ship,
thing crumbled. Yeah.
and it just went in the ground, and I got on another lifeboat and sailed off to the land.
You went with Damon or Jay-Z back then?
I was with Damon Dash.
Maybe you should have gone with Jay-Z. But
Yeah, but Jay-Z was already gone. I wanted to get on the label because of Jay-Z and Damon Dash and the whole movement. It just felt like they had a movement going on, and that they were like focusing on their artists, you know. But I set out to do it, and I did it. So that's a part of my story.
So that maybe might somehow also be released. Okay.
Yeah, because I own a lot of that stuff.
You did a song with 2 Chainz called "I Like It." Talk about your work with 2 Chainz. How was it working with him? And you know the song.
It's 2 Chainz is out of control. He is just, when you look in the dictionary for swagger, that it should be his face there. What it is never ever giving up, no matter what. And if your team ain't right, guess what? They can be fired. They don't have to stick around and tell them this is not working. Because this is my dream. I believe in this. If you don't believe in it as much as I do, then we're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So I take my head off to 2 Chainz. He has been ghostwriting for a lot of female artists.
Like who?
I know